What up, guys? So I've been reading one of Dan Gable's books. He's got this two-part series called A Wrestling Life. It's like a collection of stories, kind of like a memoir. And I read the first one, really liked it, got the second one. Actually bought the second one from his website, had it autographed. Figure I'd throw some money directly his way instead of giving it to Amazon. And in the book, there was something that he explained as a way of getting more motivated, to fight through those unmotivated slumps that we get into. And I think it's really good advice. It's something I do. And I thought, well, if I'm doing it and this Olympic champion and this famed coach is doing it, it must be useful. Maybe I'll share with you guys and some useful ideas for you. So it'll be an idea to chew on today. So in the book, Dan Gable was talking about like what he does whenever he's in this sort of unmotivated slump. And he sort of defined it for him as he wakes up in the morning and he's just laying there like, I don't want to get out of bed. And so when he said, whenever I find myself in that situation, I know that I need a new goal. I need a better goal than what I have right now. And I thought that was really like simple but powerful advice, because I think a lot of times when people sort of have these slumps, and I've been asked about this many times, like, Chewy, do you experience slumps? Of course I experience slumps. I'm human, right? I go through these waves just like we all do, right? You guys see me through these videos in a very, a fraction of the time that I exist, right? But I go ups and downs all over the place. And there's days where I feel like I'm just in a funk, right? But when I hit those funks, I have like a process for getting through it, just like this, right? Where if I wake up and I'm just kind of, or I'm just walking around throughout the day and I just feel unmotivated, it typically means I need something to focus on and to get specific about. And so a lot of times what becomes a lack of motivation is just a lack of proper focus and a lack of goals. And again, what I think most people try to do is when they're not motivated, they try to just sort of like push themselves and grit through it with willpower to do something, and usually suboptimal results, and leads to burnout and everything else. And so something that could be useful to you. You could use this obviously for everything. This is what I do for pretty much my entire life in any space. So if I want to get motivated about something, I have to find a really specific goal that I want, that I have a strong desire for. And you've got to be careful about that, because a lot of times people will choose other goals that are told to them from other people. You have to do some thought on this, right? You have to think a little bit, and sometimes that can be tough. For me, like if I have to go through this process, I generally have to take a day or two, maybe 3 off from the normal rhythm of things that I'm doing to like let my body sort of just process things and wander through and go, what do I want to do? I've talked about it a few times on the channel where I'll do these sort of solo vacations periodically. Not so much anymore because I've got a son to be home with, but years ago it was like where I'm trying to figure things out. I would take a few days away from everything and just get away from everyone, my wife, my training, everything. And just like, what do I want to do? What is it that I feel like I need to do? I'd come back and usually always immediately have a goal that I wanted, and I would chase after it, and I would have so much motivation for it, to the point where it didn't matter how early I got up or how late I had to stay up. I was like, I'm ready to go. And like, it works like that way with training, right? So a lot of times when people come up to me and they'll say, Chewy, I'm hitting a slump, I'm not motivated to train, I'll ask them like, well, what are you doing right now? This is what I usually get. What are you focused on right now? Usually I get, or what are you trying to do when you train? What I always do. And so when that happens, I generally sort of try to guide people through figuring out like, what's something you want to work on right now? What's a position you want to work on? What's a struggle you have right now? What's something that you would really like to work towards on the mat? Or what's something that excites you? And then let's focus on that for a little while. And likewise, off the mats, it's the same thing. And so for any of you guys that are having slumps, I think this is just useful advice, so I'm sharing it with you, just an idea to chew on. If you're experiencing a slump in whatever it is that you're doing, think about like, what is it that you would like to work on, to do, to train towards, to focus on, whatever it is, and then do that. And if it's not really readily available to you thought-wise, you're like, I don't really know, then maybe try to create a little bit of distance in your daily rhythms, your daily life, to try to create some space for that to happen. It's not easy. If you have a wife, you have a kid, a husband, you have a girlfriend, boyfriends, you have family, you got work, you got a career. It's not easy to do that, but a lot of times you can squeeze in a little something in there for yourself. Maybe a long walk, nice lifting session, just whatever it is, to let your brain think a little bit and try to come up with something that motivates you, something that you deeply, deeply want to do, and then work towards it. Now, like I said, I'm thinking about training, but you can think about for anything else. For any of you guys doing jiu-jitsu also, in my bearded opinion, one of the most motivating things can be for many people is competitions. I've seen people make massive jumps in their games through competition. partly because they're getting ready to put themselves out there on the line to test themselves, and there's nothing quite as motivating as having that fire of fear under your ass to like get you to do something. And so, you know, if you can't figure something out and maybe you have the itch to compete, sign up for a competition early and get ready to do it. If you guys ever want to compete, shameless plug, if you guys ever want to compete with us at the Chewjitsu Opens, you can check down the links below. We've got a bunch of tournaments coming up, and they're a lot of fun. You're going to get a lot of matches from it. But yeah, just some ideas to chew on, guys. Talk to you next time.